Hi guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com. So in this week's ukulele lesson, we're going to be learning a blues shuffle. Now this is actually a really good piece for developing your rhythm playing. So in a nutshell, a shuffle means that we're going to be approaching our rhythm with a swung eighth note feel. Now that's as opposed to playing it with a straight eighth note feel. So if you're new to understanding the differences between a swung feel and a straight eighth note feel, then I'm going to put a link in the description box below to a recent lesson that I taught that goes in depth and demonstrates both feels. So if you're new, hit pause on this video, check that one out real quick, and then come on back. So in addition to developing your rhythm playing, this lesson also has a ton of great classic blues licks. So these are licks that you can steal and add to your repertoire, and anytime you're playing a 12-bar blues, you can throw them in and just have a lot of fun with them. So a lot of classic blues licks in this tune. So I've got this lesson split into two parts. In this lesson, which is part one, we're going to be learning the first half of this tune. If you want to learn the second half, we're going to be covering that in the part 2 video lesson at rockclass101.com. So you guys can click this link right here to check out the entire lesson, or you can go to the site and just do a search for Blues Shuffle. There you'll also be able to get access to the complete tabs that you can print off and follow along with as a PDF format, and access the on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a really cool feature where you can hit play, watch the tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a really great asset in learning this song that much easier. Alright guys, let's go ahead and jump into the lesson. So this song follows the 12-bar blues form to a T. So if you're new to understanding how the 12-bar blues form works, then you want to check out this lesson real quick. Now, our song kicks off with an intro, so it's literally starting on bar 11 and 12 of that form before we get into theme 1, which is the entire 12 bars. So let me go ahead and play this 2-bar intro for you, and then we'll break it down and learn it. So here's what it sounds like. Alright, so let's go ahead and learn that part. So the first thing that you want to notice is that my index finger is going to be staying anchored. So I'm playing out of this C5 chord, and the only thing that's happening is the melody notes on the second string are moving. So watch this index finger, it stays put. So I'm plucking 2 notes at a time. I'm plucking the open 3rd string and the 3rd fret of string 2. So again, that's just your index finger right there to form this C5 chord. And something that's really important is our attack for the right hand. So let's talk about that. Now I recommend to use your index finger to pluck string 3 and your middle finger to pluck string 2. So go ahead and try that together at the same time. And one thing that you really want to focus on is that your pluck for both strings produces the same volume. Now that's a little tricky, especially with this 3rd string being our lowest pitch note on the ukulele. It tends to ring louder than the other strings and the other notes. So your goal for plucking this first part and plucking throughout this song is that we want to produce the same volume for both notes or both strings. So just work on that a little bit. And it's a bit harder than you think it is because, again, we tend to want to hit that 3rd string with bigger emphasis. So while I play through this first bar again, notice how both strings ring at the same volume level. So that's the first thing that you really want to hone in and target on for this song. So let's go ahead and learn how to play it. So keep that index finger on that 3rd fret of string 2. We're going to play that twice. And remember, our rhythm is swung. So we've got long, short, long, short, long, short. So all of these eighth notes that we're playing, they have that swung eighth note feel. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. Right? Ba da 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 da. So if you can sing it, you can play it. So again, we're going to start with that 3rd fret of string 2. We're going to play that plus the open 3rd string twice. So we've just got. Okay. Now the next note that we're going to is going to be the 5th fret of string 2. So you're going to play that plus the open 3rd string. Okay, Okay, then lift that up and go back to the index finger. So again, all I've got is 3, 3, 5, 3. Okay, that's the first half of the bar. Remember, eighth notes, 1 and 2 and... So let's try together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and... Okay, and again, I'll call out fret numbers. 2, 3, 4. 3, 3, 5, 3. Okay, so the second half of this bar is going to go to the 6th fret with your pinky finger. So again, you're plucking that with the open. Then lift it up, play the 3rd fret, back to the 5th fret, lift that up, back to the 3rd fret. So you've got 6, 3, 5, 3. So again, with that swung feel, we have 6, 3, 5, 3. Okay, let's try that together. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'll call out frets. 2, 3, 4. 6, 3, 5, 3. Okay, so if I put that whole bar together, I've got 2, 3, 4. 3, 3, 5, 3, 6, 3, 5, 3. So let's try together real slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3, 3, 5, 3, 6, 3, 5, 3. So it's a really good one for developing that stretch in your left hand too. A lot of times in my lessons I refer to playing out of a box. So basically each fret gets its own finger. So that helps to really build dexterity. So this little first shuffle piece is a great practice for getting used to stretching out that hand. So after this first bar, we're going to go into a G7 chord. So it's the G7 that we all know and love. So quickly going over that, it's the 4th string open, middle finger on the 2nd fret of string 3, index finger on the 1st fret of string 2, and your ring finger on the 2nd fret of string 1. So the tricky thing in this bar is that we're going to be hitting on the ends, so on the up of the beat. So if I was to count it out, I'd have 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So literally everything is on the end except we have a slap on beat 4. So go ahead and make that G7 chord, and I want you to hit on the ends. So we're not going to play on beat 1. So when we count it out, we have 2, 3, 4, 1, end. So on that end of 1, you're going to pluck all 4 strings. And then on the end of 2, you're going to pluck all 4 strings again. So you have 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, end. So we're hitting on the ends. So end of 1, end of 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, end. And you can hear the next one is on the end of 3. So the next hit, that end of 3, is just the 1st string by itself. So you can pluck that 1st string by itself. So let's try that together. We have 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... Okay? Now you can see I put a little accent on that first pluck. So you can do a little staccato, which is a really cool feel to put into the chord. So to do a staccato, all you're going to do is you're going to pluck that chord, and then you're just going to lift up the pressure. So take a look at how this fingering will lift up. Now it doesn't come completely off, because then that's going to make the notes ring out. But if it lifts up a little bit, it mutes the sound and gives you that little staccato sound. Instead of a sustain, you have... So a really cool thing, you can practice that. Pluck and then lift up. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and... So you can staccato the first hit, ring out the second hit, and then hit the 1st string by itself. So let's try real slow. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... Okay? Now after that, you're going to do a slap on beat 4, and then you're going to transition to the C5 chord. Now this C5 is a little bit different than the one that we did earlier. This one is going to be your index finger laying flat on the 3rd fret, strings 1 and 2. And then we have open 4 and open 3. Okay, so that's going to come in on the end of 4. So if I do that whole bar together, I've got 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Cool, and I'll call out that slap. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and slap end. So remember that slap is on beat 4. So let's, you and I, try this entire bar 1 and 2. So this intro, all the way put together, real slow. So from the top, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Awesome, great job. So let's go ahead and talk about theme 1. So it's important to note that theme 1 has its own theme. That's a lot of themes. But the theme is a repetitive rhythm. So the repetitive rhythm for theme 1 is going to be swung 8th note followed by triplet. So it's 1 and triplet 3 and triplet 1 and triplet 3 and triplet and so on. So you have swung 8th notes followed by an 8th note triplet. So what does that sound like? Let me go ahead and play a little bit of it for you, and you can get a feel of how it sounds in the context of the music. So I'm going to play just a little bit of it by myself, and then I'm going to count out that rhythm so you can start to put 2 and 2 together. Sounds like this. Okay, so there's just a few bars into theme 1. Now if I was to count it out, and I'm starting on that second bar of the intro, I'll go real slow. I have 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet 3 and triplet 1 and triplet 3 and triplet. So you start to hear that repetitive rhythm, 1 and triplet 3 and triplet. So you want to get that rhythm stuck in your head. Da 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 ba ba triplet 1 and triplet 3 and triplet. So get that rhythm stuck in your head. It's going to make it so much easier to play. So it's important to note that that C5 chord will sustain into the first bar. So remember, you're hitting that C5 on the end of 4. That's going to hold out for beat 1, and then you're going to be playing out of the chord for the first hit. So it's going to be plucking string 1, which is that 3rd fret. So if I take it from the second bar, G7, into theme 1, I have 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and slap and 1 and. So you can hear it holds into bar 1 for the first beat. So again, we have 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. So you can hear that first string, that pluck of first string is on the end of 1. Then we're going into that rhythm fill we just talked about. So really important to get that down. Let's try it together. We'll try bar 2 into theme 1. So together, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and slap and 1 and. Okay? So now we're into our repetitive rhythm patterns. So we have the triplet 3 and triplet da da triplet ba ba triplet. So we're into that part that we talked about just a bit ago. So let's go ahead and learn that. So here's what it sounds like. So that's basically what we're going to be playing. So it's got a hammer on. So take your index finger, put it on the 3rd fret of string 3. You're going to hammer on to the 4th fret. And then you're going to play the open 4th string after. So that's your 8th note triplet. So you want to make sure that you're playing each note to fit into an exact same time frame. So each note value lasts the same amount of time. Triplet. So you don't want to rush the hammer on. I see a lot of people always rush that first part, and you really want to pay and give a lot of focus on making everything even. Triplet. So a good way to practice is just to loop the triplet. Triplet, 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 and so forth. And start at whatever speed is good for you. You can even put a metronome on. Helps tremendously. So again, we have 3 to 4 on string 3, and then the open 4. And you can see I'm just using my thumb for everything. After that, you're going to lift up, you're going to play that C note twice, and that's that swung 8th fill. So I want you guys to loop that. So we have triplet 3 and triplet 3 and triplet 3 and triplet 3 and so let's give that a shot, but a little bit slower. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Triplet 3 and triplet 3 and triplet 3 and triplet 3 and triplet O O triplet O O triplet O O. So that's the best way to get a hang of that. And remember, this is going to repeat a lot throughout theme 1. So let's put that into context, this first bar. Again, I'm going to play from G7. I'm going to count it out, go slow, and then we'll try it together. So here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet 3 and triplet. Okay, so let's give it a shot together, real slow. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and slap and 1 and triplet 3 and triplet. Okay. Now, our second bar for theme 1 is a lot simpler and easier to grasp because we don't have anything that sustains into the next bar. So it was tricky going from bar 2 to bar 3 because that C5 chord sustained into the first beat of bar 1. So none of that happens moving forward throughout this theme. So it's going to make the rhythms a lot easier to grasp and understand. Here's what bar 2 sounds like. So if I count it out, I have 1 and triplet 3 and triplets. So very straightforward and easy to understand rhythm compared to that first bar. So you can see it starts out the same. You have 2 C's, right? And then you have that 8th note triplet, and then 2 C's, and then this time you have a triplet again, but it's a different notes that you're playing. So you're going to take that ring finger, put it on the 5th fret of string 2, and you're going to pull off this time to the index finger, which is the 3rd fret of string 2. And then you're going to, can't talk. You're going to pull off again to the open 2nd string. So you have triplets, 5, 3, O. So if we put that bar together, guys, I have 3 and triplet 3 and triplet. Let me count the rhythms. 1 and triplet 3 and triplet. So let's try that real slow. 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet 3 and triplet. Now our next bar is going to do the same thing twice in a row, just the first part, which was O O triplet O O triplet. So that's it. So literally doubles, right? So you have O O triplet O O triplet. Remember that O O is the open C string, right? So we have, let's try this actually. Let's try bar 2 and bar 3 together, real slow. 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet 3 and triplet 1 and triplet 3 and triplet. Okay, so now we're going to look at the 4th bar, which is a really cool walk up, straight 8th notes, but remember with that swung feel. So all 8th note rhythm, but a cool little walk up. So it's all on string 3, so it's O, O2, O3, O4, O. So you're just walking up, and I'm using 2 fingers, index to the middle finger. So I have O, O2, O3, O4, O. Very simple bar. So let's give that one a shot, and then we're going to try 1 through 4 together. So here we go, just bar 4, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Alright, so let's try 1 through 4, but starting on that pickup. So we're starting on bar 2, so G7. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and slap and 1 and triplet 3 and triplet 1 and triplet 3 and triplet 1 triplet 3 and triplet 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Alright, so let's go ahead and look at bar 5 and 6. So we're kicking off with the F chord for these 2 bars, So we're going to make the basic F chord shape with one little variation. We're going to take our pinky and add it to the 3rd fret of string 1. So I've got 2nd, open, 1st, 3rd. So with this one, it's a little hard because we have a hammer-on the 4th string. So let me go ahead and play these 2 bars and then we'll break it down. So it sounds like this. Alright, so go ahead and make that chord, and we're going to be playing string 2 by itself twice. Remember, same rhythm, 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet. So that's a constant throughout this. So string 2 twice. Then you're going to lift that middle finger up and you're going to do a hammer-on, so the open G to the A note. So open to 2nd fret. Okay, so if you put that together, you have 1 and triple. And then we're going to finish that triplet with the 1st string. So you're going to work on triplet. So open to 2nd and then play string 1. So if you put it together, you have 1 and triplet. And that's just going to repeat again to finish up bar 1. So you have 2, 2 triplet, 2, 2 triplet. And that's calling out the string number. 2, 2 triplet, 2, 2 triplets. So you see these 2 fingers stay anchored, so literally the middle finger is the only one doing some movement. So again I have 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet. Okay, going into the next bar, so bar 6, the first half of this bar is identical to what we just played. So again, 1 and triplet. So again, it's just 2, 2 hammer, and then string 1. Now the second half is a little different. It's going to start the same. It's got playing string 2 twice, but you're going to move up with your pinky and you're going to do a pull off from 5 to 3 on string 1 to the open. So again, it's a triplet, but you're pulling off pinky to index to open. So it's going to be a little hard because our pinky's traditionally the weakest finger. So we definitely want to work on developing the finger strength of the pinky. So this is a really good lick for working on that. So that's what we get when we put it together. So again, it's 1 and triplet, 3 and triplets. So again, I have 2, 2 triplet, 2, 2, then shift up to 5, pull off, right? But make it even. Okay? Let's try together. 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet, 3 and triplets. Alright, so let's try those 2 bars together. So real slow. 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet, 1 and triplet, 3 and triplets. Awesome. So now we're going back into the C chord for bar 7 and 8. So bar 7 is identical to the 3rd bar, so it's just the same little lick played twice. The bar after that, again the same as we played earlier. So 7 and 8 we have O, O triplet, O, O triplet, O, O triplet, O, O triplet. And remember that last triplet was on string 2. Okay, so let's try that together. So 7 and 8, here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet, 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet. Awesome. So that gives us the first 2/3 of this theme. So we're almost done with theme 1. So if we put it together, guys, and let's start from the G7 again, so the 2nd bar, and we'll play it real slow all the way through. So here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and slap and 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet, 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet, 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet, 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet, 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet, 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet. So starting to sound really cool. So now we're kicking into bar 9 and 10. So we're going G to the F chord. So this is where it gets a little hard. G is not too bad, but the F, playing out of the F chord, is going to be the trickiest one. Probably one of the hardest bars in this tune. Here's what those two bars sound like. Alright, so let's break it down. Now the rhythm's actually a little bit different. We have eighth followed by two sets of eighth note triplets and then a quarter note. So it's 1 and triplet, triplet, 4, 1 and triplet, triplet, 4. So you want to get that stuck in your head. So if I count it, I have 1 and triplet, triplet, 4. So let's break it down. So it starts out with the open 4 2 times. Then we're going to do this hammer-on. So it's going to be your middle finger on 6th fret of string 2. You're going to hammer on to the 7th fret with your ring finger. Then take your index, put it on 5 on string 1. So there's that first triplet. So we've got O, O, triplets. So again, it's O, O, 6, 7, 5. Okay. The next triplet is going to be a pull off, so we're going to drop that ring finger down to the 7th fret of string 1. And you're pulling off to the index finger, which is the 5th fret. And then you're going back to the 7th fret on string 2. Okay, so you have pull off, sev. Alright, so watch how this happens though. So I don't want to keep my ring finger down, for example. Don't want to keep it down. I want to lift it after it does the hammer-on, because it's got to get into position to do the pull-off. So that's something you want to work on. It's going to make it so much easier to play too. So O, O, 6, 7, 5, and you see how it lifted up, and then gets ready for pull-off, and then 7. O, O, 6, 7, 5, pull-off, 7. Now the last note is a quarter note. It's just the 5th fret of string 1. So that will buy you a lot of time to transition to the next phrase, playing out of F. So let's try that together. We have 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet, triplet, 5. Okay, so again, 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet, triplet, 5. So calling out fret numbers, I have O, O, 6, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. Okay, so a really tricky one, but it's not the hard one. The next one is the hard one, because it's got an awkward stretch with your left hand. So I'm going to play it, and you can hear it's the same theme as the G chord that we just played out of. So it's literally playing the same thing, just moving it down a whole step, so it becomes F. So you're going to start by taking your index finger, laying it flat on the 3rd fret, strings 1 and 2. But it can't be straight like if you were making a bar chord or a partial bar chord. So it's going to be at an angle. So you see how it's at an angle right here? And the first knuckle is going to be a little bit bent. So you can see the first knuckle right there is a little bit bent, and then it tapers off. So it's kind of flat right there between the 1st and 2nd knuckle. Now your middle finger is going to come onto the 5th fret of string 3. So your goal is to make all 3 of these notes ring out. So you have 5, 3, 3. So it's real tricky because it's super awkward. Now when we play out of this, our ring finger is going to be doing a lot of work. So watch the ring finger. I'm going to play this little phrase and then we'll break it down. So it's got quite a bit of movement, right? So we're going to start out by playing that 5th fret of string 3 twice. Then we're going to hammer on. We're going to use that ring finger to hammer on to the 5th fret of string 2. So you're going to play string 2 and then hammer on to the 5th fret. So watch that ring finger. So it's 3 to 5. And then play string 1, which is the 3rd fret. So that's that first triplet. So you have 1 and triplets. So that triplet is just 3, 5, 3 on string 2 and string 1. So again, we're just putting that first half of the bar together. We have 5, 5, hammer, 3, 5, 5, hammer, 3. Okay? So after that, you want to keep this chord intact because we're trying to sustain it out. Now, it was really easier to sustain on the G because you have that open, but this time around, we've got the finger frenzy. Okay, so the second half of this bar is going to be dropping that ring finger down. You're going to do a pull off, so it's 5 to 3 on string 1, going to 5 on string 2, and finishing it up by playing string 1, which is the 3rd fret. So you have pull off 5, 3, triplet, right? Triplet, and then 3 on string 1. Triplet, 3. So let's try the second half together. So here we go. 1, 2. Triplet, 3. Okay. Now if we try that entire bar together, we have 3, 4. 1 and triplet, triplet, 3. So really tricky. It's probably the hardest bar in this tune. So you just want to work on that. So one alternative, if it's a little bit too hard with that finger stretch, you can always just sub out the 5th fret of string 3 with your ring finger, and you can just play it on the fingertip and then drop it down and play the rest of it like that. So you won't get the sustain, but it'll make it a little bit easier to play. All right, so that gives us those 2 bars. So we only have 2 bars left to finish this up. So the last 2 bars of the song, or for theme 1, sound like this. Okay, so really cool stuff. So you can see it starts the same. We have O, O, triplet, O, O, triplet. So there's the first bar, or bar 11. And then bar 12, again, O, O, triplet. And then here's the only thing that changes. You're going to be doing a little cascading lick. So really cool waterfall sounding lick. So it's going to be the index finger on the 1st fret of string 1. You're going to pull off to the open, then play open 4. And then you're doing the same thing on string 2. So 1 to 0. And then take the middle finger, play 2nd fret on string 3. So we have pull off 4, pull off 2. You can hear it's all triplets. So if I play bar 12, I have 1 and triplet, triplet, triplet. It's a real cool little walk down lick for the end of theme 1. So let's try the last 4 bars of theme 1, and then we're going to recap everything. So the intro plus theme 1, and then we'll learn theme 2. And theme 2 is way easier to play, so very straightforward. So here's the last 4 bars. 3 and 4 and 1 and triplet, triplet, 4. 1 and triplet, triplet, 4. 1 and triplet, 3 and triplet, 1 and triplet, triplet, triplet. Awesome. So now we're going to go ahead and recap everything from the beginning. So kicking off with C5 and playing through all 12 bars. So 2 bar intro through all of theme 1. 3 and 4 and... Awesome. So it's a lot of stuff, a lot going on. Now theme 2 is actually way easier because it's predominantly all single notes until we get to the shuffle at the end. So let me go ahead and just play the first part of theme 2. You can hear how simple it is, and we're going to accent some of these notes to make them stand out and give it a little character. So here's what the first 4 bars sound like. So you can hear the first 4 bars are the same thing repeated 4 times. So if you learn it once, you've got it down each time. So we have the swung 8th note feel throughout this. So ba da 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 da. So you want to get that stuck in your head. So it's going to be all on string 3. So we're going O, O, then 2nd fret, and then open, then 3rd fret, and then open, and then 5, 4. So we have O, O, 2, O, 3, O, 5, 4, O, O, 2, O, 3, O, 5, 4. So just get those frets stuck in your head, and that's all you have to do to play it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about an accent note. So when I get to the 5th fret, I'm going to tug that note down a little bit. It's going to be a micro bend. It's going to give it a bit of character, make it stand out, make it a little bit more interesting instead of playing the notes all completely straight or standard. So take a listen to how that sounds, and we'll break it down. So it just gives it a tiny bit of difference, a little bit of uniqueness. So when you get to that 5th fret, you're going to keep pressure down on that note, and you're going to pull it down just a tiny bit, just a little micro bend. And the thing with this is that you don't want to go crazy pull down, because it's going to make it sound really sharp and out of tune. It's just a tiny pull down. So I've got O, O2, O3, O pull. And then I'm going to come back up with the string. When I come back up, I'm playing the 4th fret. So it tugs down, and then it comes back up, and you're playing the last note of the bar. You can see it gives it a really cool character. O, O2, O3, O tug, 4. Okay, so work on that, and it's a lot of fun to incorporate. So that happens 4 times. The first 4 bars is just that phrase repeated. So let's try it 2 times in a row, you and I. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and tug 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and tug 4. Awesome. Now the 5th and 6th bar, it's playing the same thing, but it's playing it out of F. So this time we're not going to accent any notes, we're just going to play it normal. So we're going to take our index finger, put it on the 1st fret of string 2, and we're going to play that twice, and then the 3rd fret of string 2, and then back to the 1st fret, and then the 4th fret, and back to the 1st fret. So you can see I'm using my ring and pinky. So I have 1 and 2 and 3, and if I call out frets, I have 1, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. Then I'm just going to pivot this index finger down, play the 1st fret of string 1, and then the open A. So that finishes up that bar. So I've got 1, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 1, O, and that's on 1st string. 1, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 1, O. Okay, so that's going to go twice. So now we've got the first half of theme 2. So we have bar 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now bar 7 goes back to playing the C melody again. So you've got, you can see it ends on the 5th fret of string 3, so it cuts 1 note out. So you don't go back to 4, you end on 5. So again, bar 7 and 8, you have the first time through is the same, O, O2, O3, O5, 4, and bar 8, O, O2, O3, O5. So you end right there, that'll be a quarter note. Now we're into the last third of this theme, and it's our little shuffle. So it's the same thing we played in the very first bar of the tune. But this time we're going through all 3 chords. So let's break it down. So we're starting off with the G. We're going to put our index finger on the 3rd fret of string 2, and then the ring finger on the 5th fret of string 1. You're playing the open G with it. So you're going to pluck those 3 strings, open 4, 2nd, and 1st string. You're going to pluck only the 4th string on the 1st hit. So you kind of want to let that 4th string sustain throughout this entire bar. Okay, so that's one thing, just hit it so it sustains throughout the bar. So again, we're just going to be plucking strings 2 and 1 throughout the rest of it. So we've got 4, 2 and 1, and then 2 and 1. So give that a shot. Together, and then 2 and 1. From there, we're going to take the pinky, put it on 7 on string 1. You're going to keep the index finger anchored. Index stays put the entire time. So you pluck those 2 strings, so it's 3 and 7. Lift the pinky up, and you're plucking the 5th fret again. So actually, the index and the 3rd finger stay anchored the whole time. So you've got 5, 5, 7, 5, and I'm calling out the 1st string because that's where our melody movement's happening. 5, 5, 7, 5. Then stretch to 8 with that pinky. Play that and lift it up, and then play 5 again. So you've got 5, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, and back to 7, and then back to 5. So not too hard. So remember, hitting the G on the first hit. 5, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5. So let's try that together. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So we've got all swung 8th notes, right? So again, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now the cool thing about the next one, going to F, it's the same thing. So move everything down a whole step. So instead of being on 3, 5, you're going to be on 1, 3. And this time around, you're going to hit the open C for the first hit. So I'm plucking strings 3, 2, and 1. So I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So it's the same thing, but we're just down a whole step. So we've got, calling out string 1, 3, 3, 5, 3, 6, 3, 5, 3. Alright, so let's try those 2 bars together. So we've got 3 and 4 and 5, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 3, 3, 5, 3, 6, 3, 5, 3. Okay, now the next bar goes back to the same thing we did for the intro. So identical to bar 1. So that was the open 3rd and the 3rd fret of string 2. So we had 3, 3, 5, 3, 6, 3, 5, 3. And then the last bar is the same as the intro again. The only difference is the chord that we're ending on, which you can see has 1 extra finger. So again, it's going to G7, you have 1 and 2 and 3 and slap end. And this time around, instead of doing just the C5, we're doing a full C. So you're going to make that C5 chord and add your middle finger to the 4th fret of string 3. And that will be the ending chord for theme 2. So if I play the last 4 bars together, we try it you and I. We have 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and I forgot. Middle finger at the end. And that's it, guys. So let's try theme 2 all the way through. So here we go. 3 and 4 and... Awesome. So theme 2 is a lot easier than theme 1, just because we have a predominantly single note melody line. Alright guys, so that's everything for this lesson. If you want to learn the second half of this tune, so theme 3 and theme 4, which really dives into building an amplified rhythm, so we're building the dynamics in the second half of the tune. We're going to be covering that in part 2 of the video lesson at rockclass101.com, so you can click this link right here to check out the entire lesson. Remember, you can also get the complete tabs that you can print off and follow along with, and access that on-screen tab viewer, so you can interact with the tab. You can watch it scroll across in real time, loop bars, slow it down, all the cool and fun stuff to make learning that much easier. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you in part 2. Thanks!